Morning. It's Saturday. It's the weekend. Whoop whoop. I get less emails on the weekend, which is a good thing because I come up every day and have this list of things I want to achieve every day, and usually I get bombed with stuff, and sometimes my list doesn't get done. So it's a bit of a chance to catch up. And it's another grey overcast day here. It's the 31st of January. Is that a pinch and a punch for the last day of the month? I'm not sure. No, it's usually the first day. Anyway, there goes January. Unbelievable. And boats arriving in Recife, which is really great. And Yannick and the boys down there are sending some photos and videos, which is cool. Looks very hot. It doesn't look hot, but we know it's hot. But anyway, they're happy to be there. Not as many people on the marina as I thought, which is interesting. It's always, kind of nice to be able to, have a known entity. We were locked in there, which is really great. So I think the rally, the World Rally, is behind schedule everywhere. So we're pretty much on time. In fact, we're ahead of schedule. They're always sailing too fast. Anyway, part of the course, we've got a few people coming, and I got completely screwed over with my pictures today. I had trouble loading them again, and then I was only loaded six or so, and then it popped across, and I thought I gave up. But I thought there's so many rowers coming into Antigua at the moment, having finished their row across the Atlantic, and as you know, Jasmine's a rower and lots of stuff. The Iranic boats, there's truckloads of them. I think they had 43 entrants. This is a girl, I was following her for a while. She's an Iranic R25, which is a solo boat, but they're the same boat, effectively. Well, sort of. You can see she's got two sets of oars there, or two sets of rowing stations, you could say, but they row it as a single. So she's in a 25 as well. There's another lady. They both arrived very closely together, about a day apart. But that's sort of a twin boat. You can have two people on board or one. And anyway, all kind of fun. Jasmine's stirring me up. Oh, this is the girl. This is Theodora. I finally found out her name. She did the Cape to Rio race, and I thought she was single-handed. And anyway, I found out she was single-handed. So I didn't realise there was a single-handed division in the Cape to Rio race, which is pretty cool. And I thought, oh, now she's got to sail home. But I then saw a video of her speaking, and she's speaking. Was in Brazil, and she's not speaking English. She's speaking, to all the locals there, and so I think she must be from Brazil. And her name is Theodora, I think it is, and her boat's name was Sudos too. And it looks like it's a plywood boat as well. So, but she is absolutely full of life, and she's quite small. So good to see. So she might have a big future. Oh, Che was there. I wanted to show you a picture of his rowboat, which is a dory that back in 1966, Che and John Ridgway rowed it across the Atlantic. It was a very big inspiration in the early days, anyway. And I read all his books because he was of interest for me because he sailed solo around the world non-stop the wrong way, going the other way. Anyway, so he was great into rowing. And this is Michelle Lee with her, or Che then started ocean racing in rowboats. He was the first one to do that back in 97, and they had these boats here, which were called Woodvale, and they were plywood kit boats. This was the design, but when Michelle decided to go around do the Atlantic row herself, she basically built a Woodvale design, which is this boat, and built out of carbon fibre sheets, put it all together. So, and she ended up doing a row. She's the second woman across the Atlantic or something. And then, sorry, I should know that exactly. But the big one was, after doing that, she rowed all the way across the Pacific to Australia, which was incredible. She was I never thought she'd do that second row across the Pacific, to be quite honest. We've never met personally, but we seem to know each other really well, just on on internet and Facebook and stuff like that. She's an amazing lady. Anyway, and of course, I haven't got it here, but Georgie, anyone that's involved in the MGR and Ocean Globe Race and GGR knows Georgie. She's my manager. She's currently travelling in Peru. No, she came back. She went back to Thailand, I think, and then she's on her way down to Japan. But her partner, Dave, who the MGR guys know, because they were both volunteering in Lagos to do all the original safeties and help us with the race and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, Dave is currently trying to row from Peru over the other side of the Pacific all the way across the Pacific, and then over the top of Australia and all the way over to Mauritius. Okay, it's an epic road. It's taken a year. He's on his rowboat for a year, non-stop, and he's been going too fast. But anyway, I might show you a little video clip tomorrow or something. But epic stuff. And rowing, I get it. It's still small boat stuff and bits and pieces. And Jasmine's as crazy as ever, and they're rowing. It's interesting stuff. So anyway, enough of that. We're here to talk about the MGR. We've got a few people here now, and let's get into the tracker. So there it is. You probably saw the pictures of Renault turning up, and Dan turned up as well. And the others, they should be coming in quick succession. So you're on the tracker now, and I'll get on the tracker. So I'm on the tracker, and we've got 2 boats in. You can see the fleet there. I'll put the weather up. We know it'll be green. Here we go. Still interesting. They who was it that put one up yesterday? Oh, Christian put one up. Big rain squall. Had a shower. All the rest of it. Still looks pretty comfortable, but they're still working, changing sails or reefing or doing bits and pieces. Put the grids up here. That's it. While we're looking at the big picture, we'll get the currents out of the way because there's nothing really dramatic compared to what we've been used to in the past. But it's coming on the next leg. Don't forget that. Just to remind you, if you haven't seen it, check this out. There's some serious stuff there. Interesting. It's heading in here to the bloody bits. There's the Amazon up here, and yeah. In fact, does that go in and out? Let's just see. No, it's always going in. That's interesting, eh? I would never have guessed that. It's coming out here, but it always seems to be sucking in there. That's interesting. Oh no, there it goes. It is tidal. Yeah, no. Okay, so anyway, they'll have plenty to look forward to there. Lots of interesting challenges and so on. So we get that one out of the way. Back to the wind. Well, let's look at the clouds while we're here. Not too bad. A few big fluffy bits. Temperature, we know it's red hot, 30 degrees. So it's cooler on the land. It's hotter on the water. There you can see it's cooling off. And the waves, pretty straightforward. It's all metre and a half, nothing big. Nice sailing. They're all raving about that. So that's kind of cool. All right, we've got all that lot out of the way. Let's pick it up here and have a look at what's going on. With 341 days into it so far. And slowly but surely they're heading towards Recife. So, Josh, 4.5, 100-mile day. Slowly been, you don't want to go under 100, Josh. Keep it going. So he's right on it. And he's got a reasonable breeze. It looks like there's less breeze down here for Jasmine and Co. 4.4, 91 miles. Yep, you can see there's a bit of blue there. 91. Entrant still on 100. Jasmine's slipping back, enjoying the ride, not in a hurry to get to Recife, which is fair enough because you're going to have a long time there. So why not enjoy the time at sea? So that's Entrant. What do we say? 100. Eric, 108, slowly clipping forward. 4.4, trying to hang on to Kerry, and Kerry has got 100. Cheapest. You're boring down on Kerry, Eric. So that's kind of cool. 100 miles in the day for Kerry, 4.1 knot. Obviously not a lot of breeze there. And here we go with Adam and Christian. Adam's struggling to hang on to Christian. However, he did 116 miles and managing 4.2 knots. Christian did 121. So still pulling ahead at 4.8 knots. So I think Christian looks like he might get in just before Adam. So that's cool. Anyway, Jakub, 4.4, 124. And that's on top of Christian, so you're staying away from Christian. You can't quite catch Pilar. Oh, I should pick this up. Pretty close, but I think Pilar's pulled way ahead by them. But it's 128, yeah, 128 versus 124, and she's managing 4 knots. So she's pulled 4 miles ahead of Jakub and has approximately 19 miles or 20 miles to go. That's at 8 o'clock. So 20 miles, doing 4 knots, 5 hours. So another 5 hours she's in. I forget what the local time is there now. It's probably must be about 4 hours ahead or something like that. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So she'll be there in the morning on Saturday, which is cool. So and then Jacob, she's on 100. I'm not paying attention here. 20 miles, and Jacob's 37. So 17, 16, 4 hours behind. So 4, 4, 16. Yeah, another 4 hours later. Although it's going to get a bit soft. You can see it's softer breeze as they're approaching the coast. So that's about it. And then just to see what we reckon, get again, 100 miles. So yeah, early on Sunday morning for Christian, I'd say, and Adam will be close behind. So a few arrivals over the weekend. They'll be happy to be there. Got some cold beers. Yannick went down there with cold beers, so that's pretty good. What else can I tell you here? Leaderboard straight the same. I think we're done on that. So let's come back and have a look at the entrant reports. I hit that, and then I'm back. Hello. Maybe I didn't come back before. Rightio. Tracker's there. You're the only one there. Anthony, you're the only person that's even made a comment. Rightio. I can see 20 people there. Yeah. Anyway, there's 20,000 on me. Is it just me, or is the world going nuts? Right. I think we're watching the last days of Xi Jinping in China. If you follow China at all, it's crazy, unbelievable. Anyway, where are we? Here we go. The whole world is just going crazy. Everything except the world here in the sun alone is a beautiful place to be. Although, it's overcast. There we go. Entrant reports. 3 unread messages. Did that one come in early? Kerry. We read Kerry. Is this another one? Mm-hmm. Renault? No, we read Renault and Kerry. Okay. Christian. Okay, had a nice long shower in the pouring rain last night, but the wind was changing a lot in force and direction. Today, a little breeze is back, and we have nice sailing conditions again in the South Atlantic. Looking forward to arrive in Recife on Sunday and have a cold drink. I hope that customs and immigration are open on Sunday so that we're able to leave the boats. All the best. Not sure what was going on there because it's probably going to be pretty relaxed, I think, but we'll have to wait and see. But all I can suggest is that when I haven't spoken to Reno, they arrived at the marina. As soon as I got to the marina, he just, they said g'day, blah, blah, blah. He presented flags to the marina and to Yannick and so on, and Antonio, who's the marina manager, and then just bolted. So I haven't heard anything about the official paperwork. So it could be relaxed. Maybe they let you in and give you 24 hours to go and see the guys and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, but we'll get some more news on that. So you might be lucky, Christian. Jake from BB. All good and sailing peacefully towards Recife. I slept a lot last couple of days. Last night I forgot to put an alarm when the wind changed directions. BB drifted south and that cost me about 10 nautical miles. But no sweat today. Sweet broad reach and we are flying. The only problem I've no more coffee. Funny thing that, because yeah. All of my life I hardly drank coffee, but in the last 6 years or so, 6, 7 years since been living in France, I drink coffee, but I never have any more than one coffee a day, and it's a little cup. There's my cup, right? And I always wonder, how can people get addicted to it? I just have one cup. I think it's good for you. Everything in moderation is good for you. So anyway, but some people go, oh, I've got to have coffee. But I'm not suggesting that Jake's got to have coffee like that. Anyway, we're waffling on. Tracker. Big report from Tracker again. What's going on, Erton? Is this your official report, or is this just an extra? This is from Erton. Tracker steady on her way to Recife. All is well on board. So life is good when there's no issues and no dramas and all that sort of stuff. So that's about it. No comments. So thanks, everybody. I think we can keep this one simple. There's going to be less and less action in trade winds heading towards Recife, but they'll all be holding their breath. G'day, Sienna. Thank you for coming up and letting us know you're there. What was I going to say? I was going to challenge everyone, but it's too late now because we're at the end. Will there be a mass start for this leg? Yeah, there is. That's the whole idea of it. We are well and truly ahead of schedule, which is cool. We've locked into it. They're very busy in Antigua with all sailing events. And so we have a window of when we decided some time ago, maybe 5-6 months ago, that the prize giving is going to be on the 20th of March in Antigua, I think. Yeah, busy in Antigua. The 20th of March is the prize giving, so we're scheduling a mass restart from Antigua on the 19th of February, and that's just as the Carnivale finishes on the 18th, I think it is, and so they start on the 19th. That's the first opportunity we had because everyone will be swamped out and busy and trying to recover and stuff. So on the 19th they take off, and that should put the first boats into Antigua about the 4th, maybe 4th or 5th. We arrive on the 2nd. Keep your fingers crossed. I don't want to buy a new ticket. We might put some if they're going to turn up before we arrive. I might put some waypoints there and make them do figure of 8 donuts around the waypoints. This is a good idea, actually. I will. Actually, that's what we'll do because we run out of budget for the MGR. But anyway, they should have, I reckon, 4th maybe or 5th. They got 2,500 miles to go, and then the tail enders should come in at about the 12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere through there. But everyone should be well and truly tucked in, and looking back at the reality is that crikey, we've sailed around the world, which is incredible. I don't know whether you remember, but they're all given a bottle of rum, Antigua rum, at the start, and they were told to have a toast at every port. There's 18 spots, and then bring the bottle back so that the Sailing Academy in Antigua can have their bottle back and the skipper sign it. And they can put it on the wall for posterity, for history. So this bottle of rum went all the way around the world in Antigua's first ever round the world yacht race, because that's correct as well. This is the MGR not only is making history in that, it's the first time they've ever had a round the world yacht race from Antigua. And I have no idea how many have actually been doing that, but they might be very surprised when they arrive in Antigua if they have actually done that. In other words, it was given them a challenge. I know some of you are going to see this and so on. So this is what we want you to do. And from the best of my reckoning, I don't know anyone that didn't drink their bottle of rum by the time they got to Fiji, and they probably threw the bottle away. I've got no idea. But there might be something very special happening, very special, for any of the entrants who turn up in Antigua with their bottle, with hopefully a last little bit to do one last final toast about getting back and give it to the Antigua Sailing Academy. And that's all I'll say to that. I'll just say, well, let's see how many actually did it, or whether they just, shit, that was good, and throw the bottle over with a message in it, or something like that. I got no idea. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. There was certainly some world firsts. I'm just riding, we're talking about our 3 races around the world and then the Transat and things like that. There's some interesting stuff going on. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, Sienna, that's it. We're nearly out of here. Those who started in the Transat have rounded the globe already. Crazy. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you've got to tie the knot. They're not right up there yet, but they will be very soon up there. And I've learned something interesting the other day. The official, you know how I'm waffling on, but it's a short one. If you want to sail around the world, you've got to do a minimum distance. And the way the minimum distance works is that they work out the circumference of the world at the equator. Okay, and if you're a navigator, you'll know that there's 360 degrees around the equator, and each one of those degrees has 60 minutes in it. So you've got degrees, minutes, and seconds. It's a measure of distance. Okay, and so if I say to people, okay, what's a nautical mile? They'll give you all sorts of crazy suggestions, and very few people know the technical definition of a nautical mile. And the nautical mile is 1 minute of arc at the equator. And so an arc, if you've got 360 degrees and you say 90 degrees of arc, then it's a piece of 1/4 of an apple pie, right? That's 90 degrees of arc on your apple pie, going around 1/4, blah, blah, blah. So 360 degrees, 1 degree of arc is easy. It's 1/360th of the equator. And then in that 1 degree of arc, you've got 1 minute, 1 degree of arc, you've got 60 minutes of arc. Okay, and one of those minutes of arc is the technical measure of 1 nautical mile. So if you multiply 360 by 60, you end up with a figure. Okay, and it's 21,600 nautical, 21,600 nautical miles or whatever it is. But in reality, the world is a little bit bigger than that, and it's like where we have a leap year as the time changes. So I'm not going to tell you what the answer is, but it's actually a bit more. It's not the real measure around the equator isn't actually 360 multiplied by 60. It's 360 multiplied by 60 plus a little bit. So some of us have got a tape measure and walked all the way around the world. And I just discovered that yesterday, which is really interesting, and that just creates a little bit of a time anomaly of thingo. Anyway, I digress. That's like, the other thing I saw. Do you realise through the tectonic plate movement around the globe, right? All the continents are continually moving, and Antarctica's down the bottom, and Australia's moved away from Antarctica. There's the Gondwana principle and all this, that, and the other. But the amazing statistic is that the speed that Brazil and South America and lots of stuff is moving away from the African continent is as fast as your fingernails growing, right? So, remember the time you can look at your fingernail now and say, okay, that's how far apart the continents are moving apart. And it makes me laugh because I used to did 20 seasons in Antarctica, 20 years, back and forth to Antarctica doing different things every summer and one over winter. But I was expedition leader on ships, and blah, blah. And we used to tell the passengers, they said, when you're about to land on shore, you'll see a few little things sticking up there, a few measures and stuff. It's because Macquarie Island, for instance, was moving away from New Zealand at a certain rate. So they get out there and measure it. They measure it every year. With the steel rule. So many of them used to believe me. Anyway, I digress. I've got to get out of here. Hello, Don. It's getting exciting. I'll be watching it in English Harbour in Antigua. I will be watching. Oh yeah, I thought you were going to be in Antigua. I was going to say, well, that'll be fun. Yes, it's in English Harbour. It's where we started from. I'll show you the finish line later on. But no, sorry, it's not in English Harbour. It's in Falmouth Harbour. English Harbour is where the British naval base was, hundreds of years ago. It's a fascinating place. It's fantastic, really cool. But anyway, if you sail past English Harbour, if you're going across the Atlantic, it's only about probably, I don't know, a mile and a half or something. Not even, a mile and a half, something like that. You come into a bigger bay, which is called Falmouth Harbour. And so you go into Falmouth Harbour, and that's where the big mega yacht marina is. And then the sailing academy is just off to the side of that marina. And so if you watch the start, which is on a replay, you can watch that. It's on YouTube, which is a fun day. So many things going on. I'll never forget Buddy Eric. All the boats are heading for the start line, and he's going the opposite way and heading straight for a reef. And he ran aground. Anyway, we did a sail past all the mega yachts. This is the 150 million euro mega yachts, or a couple of them are worth more than that. Anyway, big foghorns, bits and pieces. And I mentioned to Alison at the academy, we're going to do the same thing. The sailing instruction will be once you cross the finish line, you have to do another sail past around in amongst the marina and the boats, no matter what time of the day or night. So it's going to be quite interesting, especially if they come in on a Sunday morning at about 3 o'clock in the morning. There'll be one boat at a time going around and blowing horns and stuff like that. It's going to become a bit of a thing, for departure each time we run the MGR. And on arrival, every one of them will do the same circuit. So that'll be fun. Anyway, look forward to that. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And keep your eye on China. Jeepers, it's going crazy. Okay. Bye-bye.